my name is James, and welcome to Mirror Domain's Movie News for September 14th, 2020. And on today's show, we're going to take a quick look at the weekend's box office. Some Scream 5 news came out that's kind of curious. Some headlines like Junkie XL is back working the score for the Justice League Zack Snyder cut. Candyman gets pushed, and there's a trailer out for The Father with Anthony Hopkins we'll talk about. And Chris Hemsworth is saying that he's not done with Thor, that he still wants to do more. That rhymed, oddly enough. All right, let's start off the show today by talking about the weekend's box office for the weekend of September 11th through the 13th. And I'll just pull that up on the side here. Tenet is number one with 6.7 million. The New Mutants is behind with 2 million. Unhinged is third place with 1.5. The new movie out is The Broken Hearts Gallery, 855,000. And Bill and Ted round out the top five with 260,000. For a streaming movie, that's still good. I think Bill and Ted hanging in there is awesome. Of course, we have to talk about Tenet because that's the big draw today. Everybody's talking about, well, Tenet only made a certain amount this last weekend, and is it a good sign or isn't it? It's crossed the $200 million mark. Let's just pull up that page right now. Worldwide, it's $207 million. But over this last weekend, it only made 9 million, guys. So its opening weekend, it made 20 million in the domestic box office, and now it's made another 9 million. Internationally, those numbers are much better. It's made 177 million, and it's going to be hard-pressed, I think, for the domestic box office to even rival the international box office, which I'm sure that a lot of people would like to have that, but theaters aren't open in all places in the States just yet, and when they are, where they are still limited capacity. So, it's being reported that Tenet has a rough production budget of about 200 million, and right there you would say, well, hey, you know what, it just broke even. Well, not so. That's just the production budget. It's not the marketing budget on top of that, which I would say another 100 million, because they marketed this a lot. Because of the pushback, they had to market it almost double as much. So, I would say an easy another 100 million there. And then because of all the delays, they had to pay certain percentages in the interest costs, and of course the theaters take their cut. So I would say that Tenet probably has to make around 300 to 350 million to consider starting to break even. And Tenet, I'm not too sure. Can Tenet break even? And I'm not too sure. It's going to have a little bit of a longer run now that other movies are getting pushed back, like Wonder Woman. But the word of mouth, the buzz, is getting out there that people are having trouble understanding it. You know, a lot of the concepts it's a very high concept film. I liked it a lot. But, it's not having that impact that, you got to go check it out. And that's something that we're going to have to keep our eye on. Some analysts have said, oh yeah, this is a good sign. It is. It's a good sign if you didn't have a production budget of 200 million and it didn't cost so much. So I can see other studios pushing back films. And that's precisely what's happened with some other films that we'll talk about now in some other headlines. Candyman was supposed to come out this year. And it was a film that I was very, very interested in because I really liked the original Candyman. And, the director came on board and it was kind of like, wow, okay. It looks like it's going to be an interesting take. Today, the director, Nia DaCosta, released a little statement today about why Candyman is getting pushed. And don't worry, it's not going straight to streaming services. I'll pull up a little quote here by himself here on, Joe Blow here. Scrolling down here, he says, he wanted the horror and humanity of Candyman to be experienced in a community. So we're pushing Candyman to next year to ensure that everyone can see the film in theaters and share that experience. Ooh. No, I mean, come on. You watched the trailers. I watched the trailer for this, and I thought it was really good. I thought it was a very interesting take. Of course, everybody's concerned about those box office takes. So, yeah, it's got pushed. There's not much more to dwell on it. It says it hasn't been slated for a 2021 release, but it's going to come out somewhere in 2021. We'll keep our eyes out for it, and I'll let you know as soon as I know something. Moving on. Junkie XL. Okay, so DC Fandom had their second part this weekend where they took some fan questions and stuff like that, and Junkie XL is composing the score for Zack Snyder's Justice League, and he has gone online to share a little piece of that with everybody. And I guess they're going to be scrapping all of Danny Elfman's music? Okay. I don't know about that. Like, whatever. The music wasn't the standout for the Justice League anyway. I know a lot of people were bummed that they didn't use the Superman theme from Man of Steel. Maybe we'll get that back. Who knows? So anyway, if you go on Twitter and you look up Zack Snyder Bible, really, guys? Really? Zack Snyder Bible? I mean, come on. Anyway, he previews his music there. Obviously, I can't play it for you guys because it'll get striked or claimed, and, I can't do that. Tom Holkenborg, Junkie XL, he just quickly gives you a small little clip of what he's been working on, and I listened to it. Yeah, it sounds like music. It's very percussive. It's got that drum stuff going on in the background, and I liked it. I thought I'd just quickly share my thoughts with you guys on that. Let me know if you listened to it, if you're anticipating him back for the Snyder Cut, because I think a lot of people will. Okay, moving on for Scream 5. Just a quick little headline here. Matthew Lillard came out in an interview for some magazine. He was on his Twitter, I think it was. His Twitter, yeah, there we go. He says, I mean, it's just a TV, right? You think he'd survive. Matthew Lillard was one of the, spoiler alert, he was one of the bad guys in the very first Scream. And if you go on to read this article, it says that they were planning to actually have him be the bad guy in the third one, which I found kind of interesting. Yeah, he was going to be like the bad guy mentoring other copycats from prison. And, well, that's an interesting premise. Maybe that's where they're going for Scream 5. That would be very interesting. Because all he did, he got cut up and then he got the TV fell on his face, and that's pretty much it. I mean, would that really kill you? Who knows? Very interesting. I mean, it's a horror franchise, and far further out there ideas have been laid down in these kinds of movies. Okay, moving on. The Father. The Father is a Sony Pictures movie that's coming out in December 18th actually, and it stars Anthony Hopkins, and I just heard a little bit of buzz about this movie saying that it's got some fairly interesting acting, but the premise itself looks a little bit haunting. So I did a trailer reaction to that. I was really pleasantly surprised that it has Imogen Poots in it. I love her. I think I should follow her on Instagram or something. She's got a line to her. But anyway, I was looking at the trailer, and I think you guys should check it out because it has some very interesting premises, and the acting setup looks phenomenal. It looks like they knock it out of the park with this. Anthony Hopkins and Olivia Colman, right? Olivia Colman, I believe is her name. And yeah, they look like it's like the father and the daughter, and the father's maybe losing his mind to Alzheimer's or whatever it's called. I feel like, yeah, it's worth the look, and I totally recommend it. If you want to see my trailer reaction, look up in the cards and in the description below, where you'll be able to find links to that. Let's round out the show today with this Chris Hemsworth quote that everybody's been talking about. I think a lot of people really want Thor to come back, because I feel like he's a big part of the MCU now that Cap and Iron Man are gone. Variety had an article. I'll pull that article up. Chris Hemsworth is definitely not saying goodbye to Marvel after Thor Love and Thunder. And that's good news. I think that's really good news, because where do you go from here? I guess he was in an article for the Polish magazine El Man. And he had this quote that I think everybody's been jumping on and latching onto. He quickly says here in the quote, "Are you crazy? I'm not going into any retirement period. Thor is far too young for that. He's only 1,500 years old," he said. It's definitely not a film that I say goodbye to this brand. At least I hope so. It's definitely not a film that I say goodbye to this brand. At least I hope so. Thor Love and Thunder is directed by Taika Waititi and confirms that Natalie Portman's going to be back in it, and that's kind of interesting. She's going to be maybe taking up the mantle as the female Thor that I hear about in the storylines of the comic books. We'll see how that plays out, but it's Taika Waititi. He really knocked Ragnarok out of the park, and I think everybody will be happy that Hemsworth really wants to continue on playing Thor. That's good news, because he's one of my favorite Avengers. Is he one of your favorites? Let me know in the comments below. And that's pretty much the way that it's been today in the realm of movie news, entertainment news, for September 14th, 2020. Let me know what you thought about some of these stories in the comments below. Alright, that's it. YouTube is recommending a video for you to watch right there, and you can see my latest one just right here. My name is James, and you're watching Mirror Domain's Movie News. If you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe right there.